Hey people, JulesBlessedVegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. Yeah, I still exist. People, I will tell you, my life is cray, alright? Like, do you ever feel like you can do anything if you know that there's an end, right? Like, I can do anything as long as I know that there's a final date or that it'll be done. But that hasn't really been the case. Okay, so I totally kicked it through, 12 intense days of creating a kitchen with a lot of help, and it was amazing. But then on the 13th day, we kind of just crashed, right? Because we were so exhausted. And then at the same time, no matter what, I was still teaching summer school, which I'm still teaching. But along with the kitchen, we'd done some side projects, and those side projects need to be done. So even though I was kind of holding my breath, knowing that that kitchen was going to be done within like 12 or 13 days, what I didn't consider was that with the kitchen being done, I was still going to have to put it all back together. Like move it all back. Excuse me. I'm having asthma. First of all, it's hot, hot, hot. And I'm not just talking my lungs, right? It's so hot here. And so even right now, it's still about 86 degrees. I'm down from 100 and something. Let's be fair, I'm in the high desert. But we've been having to muck the stalls for the horses, and there's a lot of really fine dirt, and it's super windy in addition to insanely hot. And so, yeah, my lungs just go crazy. So anyway, when all that was done and I finally exhaled, I realized that there was a whole new project, which was trying to figure out how to put everything back. I'm not even done. I'm not even done yet. And part of that was because somehow none of the cupboards are the same, right? The width of the opening isn't the same. The amount of unused space, if you will, isn't the same. The bottom shelf isn't a full shelf, it's a half shelf. So that was like something to consider. There's a lot of dynamics that are different. And so it wasn't like I could just take box B and put it back in cupboard B. Cupboard B doesn't even exist anymore. So it was just stuff like that. With all of that, if you've been following me, my pig Luna has been sick. So while I was rejoicing, that Luna is certainly kind of up and about, she's not herself. And I don't know if you've ever heard a pig bark, but they do kind of bark, right? Like, I don't know if she's hurting or what, but when I want to reach in and rub her ears like I normally would do, she's just like barking. And I'm not sure what the story is. I've talked to the vet, and the vet is like, just give her time. In addition to all that she just went through, it's hot, and pigs don't do very well in the heat. So she needs to get her hoofs done, right? And she's not really good at that either. Because kind of like our dog Cena, she just doesn't favor people outside of her little circle. Well, her hoofs aren't that bad, but one of them kind of went rogue, and one of them is just totally grown. So I was a little concerned about that. So she's been getting better. So I called someone to come out and do her hoofs. That was a hard no. I mean, they came, but she was like trying to bite them. I'm not kidding you. This is a big pig. She weighs about 85 pounds. And even though she hasn't been doing well, she was jumping 3 feet. Like, she was just leaping to get away. And they were finally like, we're so sorry, we just can't do it. They recommended giving her beer. Are you familiar? I guess it's what they used to do even when they would do like horse hoofs and stuff. Though, a lot of horses don't cause trouble when you're doing their feet, at least not in my experience. They might rebel a little or get uncomfortable, but mostly it's like, just get it done. That is not the case with Luna. So they said, could you give her beer? Well, I mean, as a rule, I don't buy alcohol. But the other option was to hog tie her, which is no. I have a feeling that's why she's so traumatized, because the last time someone did hog tie her to do her nails, it was probably the worst thing they ever chose to do. So the other option was to give her some Benadryl, but Benadryl can't really be, you can't monitor Benadryl, in terms of the effect and stuff. So I might go with the beer idea. I might. I'm praying about it. But if anybody knows anything about that, please let me know. I would really appreciate it. No matter what, she will need her feet done. So, on top of all of that, I was dealing with the Roe versus Wade decision, which is like, a huge controversy for a devout Catholic. And not just that. I mean, I absolutely believe in life, but I also believe in the importance of keeping rights, And that's because I know, just even as an educator, every time we give up a right, like, oh yeah, go ahead and take our recess, go ahead and take our prep period, I'm sure you'll give it back. They never do, ever. And, it was just kind of the same thing. I read a meme where somebody said that we shouldn't have to be fighting, our grandchildren should not have to be fighting for what our grandmothers already overcame. And I totally get that. It was as early as the 70s when women couldn't have their own credit card. They couldn't have a house without a cosigner. I mean, it's scary. It's scary to me. So no, it's not about dead babies, of which there's been 60 million in 50 years, which means, 59 million of those were of convenience. I mean, I'm so sorry. It's certainly not about that, and God knows that. I'd do anything to save a child, and I have saved many children. By grace, I've been able to help mothers become mothers when they wanted to abort. So my heart is there on all of that. I'm just so sorry for the current circumstance. So it's not about religion for me. And in fact, I think if the church did their job, no Christians would show up for an abortion, and yet we know 75% of all those abortions are by proclaimed Christians. So people just need to be real. They need to be real. So that was going on. Then the whole thing with the gun control situation was going on. And I'm affected by stuff like that. I know a lot of people say, I never watch the news and I don't read the paper, as if there's a paper anymore, but you know what I mean? I don't get involved in anything. Well, yay you. But there is a degree of responsibility to keep ourselves informed. At the very least, it's for me to know what to pray for, at the very least. But I grew up in an activist family and a political family, and I've served in many political arenas, and I do want to be informed. It's just sometimes, my gosh, I am affected, because I tend to be a little more well-read than most. Information comes easy to me. I grasp things easily, and it's really hard, but not to the detriment of my health. And that's kind of where the balance comes in. So what I was thinking, and what the icon for the video was the noise of the world. There's so much noise, and it's not just in our daily, circles, but obviously if you dare to tap into the virtual realm, it exponentially becomes more noisy. And what it is trying to maintain health in that noise, And so no matter what, I've been doing my exercise. A minimum of 10,000 steps. Obviously, a good portion of that is on the rebounder when I can't get my steps in. It has certainly been more at times, but I will not go to bed. Even right now, I'm like at 8,500. I will get those other 1,500 in no matter what. Like, that's something I can do. Getting in my water no matter what. Getting in fruit and vegetables no matter what. Sadly, I've still been engaging in nonsense, but I can tell that it's temporary in terms of food that just doesn't serve me. It could be on the outer ring of my plan, but it just doesn't serve me. And, part of me is like, oh, well, let me just get through summer school. And I still have another week of summer school. I can be on my 600-pound life if I continue to engage for just one more week, right? And we all know the joke. All the toxins get in the body. The microbiome starts screaming. And so even with the best of intentions, and I've done this so many times where for a day I'd be clean. For 2 days I'd be clean. And then by day 3 or day 4 I'd just be slammed with all the same insanity that I'd been, experiencing a couple days earlier. And it's because, of course, the body will fight back until you're consistent. And I get it. Moment plus moment equals momentum. We went shopping. I got my eyebrows done because I know you guys were thinking, well, Jules, did you lose like half a pound? Yes, yes, I did. It's instant when I get my eyebrows done. So I did a couple of things to care for myself in all of this, right? Because that's when I know that I have the best intentions. So we went grocery shopping yesterday and today. I have the fruit, I have the vegetables, I have the means to make salads. I have all the things. I kind of lost my binge buddy, which was my pig Luna. They needed us to change her diet. Now, granted, I would only give her scraps from fruit and vegetables, but they want way less fruit. And that's okay. That's okay. I can still share my vegetables. But it's been kind of hard because that was something we shared. But I kind of realized in getting off my plan over the last months, I gotta say months, that I had become a food pimp, right? Because what would happen is I would buy a bunch of healthy fruit and vegetables. I'd end up eating processed junk, and I would overfeed my pig, for which I owe an amends. I would overfeed my pig my scraps because I felt bad. I didn't want them to go to waste. Well, they went to her waste, and that was really unfair. And same thing with my husband. Like, I would distract my husband because he'll always say, Juliana, is that on your plan? Is that the best? That this non-vegan superhero of a husband not only ensures that I have all the citrus and all of the things I need to succeed, but does my food inventory by saying, is that on your plan? I'm in love. So I would find myself playing all my games of ensuring that I would come home with Coke, because if I can give him a Coke, he'll be so happy, he'll be distracted. Or asking him if he wanted me to run to Subway and get him something because, oh, I'm so tired, all the while knowing that I'm sneaking there to get myself something. And granted, it would just be a veggie delight, which is literally just all the vegetables and no cheese, not a problem. I'm not going to go dairy, but I have no business eating that bread, even though they have vegan bread. I'm just going to say the more bread, the sooner you're dead. Not even white bread, just bread. It's trouble. So I knew I would be manipulating something like, baked Lays or something. Well, at least they're baked. Please, it's still chemical-laden junk. Anyway, little games like that. And, I owe him an apology. Because honestly, I would manipulate my pig's food. I would manipulate my husband's food just to trick myself, And I'm really sorry for that. So anyway, I just always like to be able to share with you guys because, you're my community and my advocacy and, other people just don't get it. So I'm not going to wait till summer school is over, which will just be to my detriment. I have a plan. I have my food. And, I haven't talked to coconut in so long. I stopped using coconut. And coconut was, again, a really good advocate. And I need to talk with coconut again and see what I can do to be accountable and to be well. And, of course, that's our little coconut. And I just love that it came with the name coconut. And then another thing I haven't used in forever is my Earthshare. These were great tools for me at the time. But it's like the 12-step program. It always says it works if you work it, and it won't if you don't. Hi. And I know that. None of that's news to me. I know when I'm being sneaky. I know when I'm being manipulative. And a lot of it just comes down to being fear-based, Whatever is going on in my life, my oldest, quickest manipulation was always food, right? It's the first drug for many people, and it's not just, of course, in my situation, excess or binging, but certainly for people who are into scarcity, right? They like to limit the amount of food that they're eating, and they manipulate it that way, or they find the middle ground. They consume all of it and they get rid of all of it, right? Through bulimia. So there's a lot of ways to manipulate food, but so much of it comes down to, am I living in my adult? Or am I letting a kid run the show? Because, yeah, kids, they don't know how. They don't know how to be appropriate. They only know what they want in the moment. And I tend to fall into that, you know? So anyway, I just wanted to check in with my JVV community. And I just wanted to say that I know what the tools are. I know what works. I also know that I've been incredibly overwhelmed and I've been disassociating. And in doing that, I just haven't been as accountable as I prefer to be. So I'm really lucky that by grace I have no dis-ease other than my mindset. I have no physical pain or inflammation to speak of in my body. But I can't outrun that forever, right? I mean, I already know this time when I put on weight, which has just been so uncomfortable, was very different than even 5 years ago. And, you know, I'm just so sorry for that. So, anyway, that's all. I'm around. I'm doing it. I have a plan. I have my food. I need to work my plan. And I'll have to implement some of these tools. Absolutely. All right, my friends, it's a noisy world. I get engaged in it, but I don't want to lose sight of my health because, as we know, if you lose sight of your health, your next focus is going to be illness. And I'm so sorry because I see that with my husband. He's in so much physical pain. Now, granted, his hernia surgery went awry. It was horrific. But the amount of pain that his body's in every day, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, let alone the love of my life. So, prayers for Dale. I know God has a great plan. Okay, my friends, like if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. Can you relate to any of this? I would love to know. And until we talk again, best of all, know that I'm always around, even if I'm drowning, and know that you're blessed.